Pod of Thrones. Me llamo Jeff.
Me llamo Jennifer.
That's about all the Spanish I know.
Would it? Actually, I probably would be Yennefer. I've been called that.
Yeah, I'd probably be Yef.
Or Hefe.
Or Hef. Because a J is kind of a huh sound.
No, it wouldn't be Hefe?
No, Hefe means boss. I got called that a lot in high school or whatever, so I learned that one pretty quick. Hefe is Spanish for boss.
Why were you getting called boss in high school?
Because it's the same reason you just said it. Like, no one cared what it actually meant. It was just better than Jeff because it sounded Spanish. Hefe.
It was better than Jeff?
Right. Well,
okay. Anyway, yes, I've been a Yennefer, Miss Yennefer a lot.
Yennefer?
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought Hennifer.
I just had a funny noise come out.
I know you don't like Hennifer. What?
If you'll probably hear it. You can leave it in if you want, but my throat just burped without me opening my mouth. It was burping in my throat.
Well, that's a good way to start a show.
You
I
might
like
hear
it. I just wanted to give a shout out to all of our Mexico listeners.
Oh.
At least Arthur. I think there's more. And he's been plugging us quite a few times.
He's great.
He's awesome. So there might be some other Mexican listeners too, but I gotta say, this earthquake thing sucks.
Yeah.
And shit's going down in America too. We got the hurricane that hit Houston, and now Florida's getting blown away. It's just waggling off the map now. It's just hanging there. And
yeah.
Earthquake got Mexico'd. Or Mexico got earthquaked. One of the two. Holy shit. But I'm also a little hurt because I know we share a Twitter account, but this might have to stop.
What?
I tweeted Arthur like 20 minutes before you tweeted Arthur from the same account asking if he was okay.
And he
replied to yours.
Oh.
I didn't even know that until just now because I was looking up his replies. But we were just trying to find out if Arthur, who everyone that listens to the show, you should know him by now because he's been on with us a couple times. We were asking if he was okay. But he lives in Mexico City, and he said the land there under where he lives is ancient volcanic ground, literally solid rock. So earthquakes don't really affect where he lives. But parts of Mexico City were affected very badly in, I guess it was 1985, when he said most of the central part of Mexico City was completely destroyed. But since then, they've learned a lot about prevention and evacuation. The problem right now is that the major damage was done in some of the poorest states of the country. That sucks.
That's the way it goes a lot of the time.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope that people are opening their hearts and reaching out and giving whatever Mexico needs, shelter. Or I doubt we're doing that in America, but hopefully as Americans, we're stepping up, even though,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Well, what we're hitting right now, I am sure, is something that happened, I think it was the Katrina years, right? When Hurricane Katrina wiped out New Orleans, but then there were like Hurricane Sandy or tropical, whatever kind of storm, Nor'easter Sandy or something like that, it blew away like a big chunk of New York and New Jersey too. And it was just all devastated. And when you have all these disasters going on at once, there does come a saturation point where the public's just like throwing their hands up in the air. We just can't take this anymore. We don't know what to do. It
seems manufactured, doesn't it?
Well,
I think there's probably some evil supervillain out there.
Is it
causing all this disaster?
Is it like the chemtrails kind of stuff? Like airplanes are seeding the air so that the government can control the weather pattern?
Well,
are you going down that road? Because
no, it's I think it's just an evil guy.
Just one evil guy with a weather control satellite?
Yes.
Okay. Like a real Dr. Evil kind of thing?
And seismic control.
Right, of course. Yes.
Yes.
Naturally.
You know what? I bet there are people out there freaking out right now thinking Armageddon's coming.
Well, they're always doing that.
But we had a lot of stuff happening just in this last week. Plus, we've got Trump for president.
Well, that is
He's like the devil himself.
It does seem like the end times when you put it that way.
Right?
I know, but
we only need like 3 more major events to happen. We need the dead fish and we need the blood something or other. And maybe one more spectacular, I don't know, fish flying or something.
I'm going to refuse.
Frogs. I saw one frog today.
I'm going to refuse to sign on to this theory, babe. I cannot I cannot go down this path with you because I have to believe that we will get Game of Thrones season 8.
Well, of course. The show must go on, right?
Well, not if we're all dead.
Well, if we're not.
They do film overseas, though. It seems like North America is really just in dire straits right now.
Yes.
And so maybe
they'll
get to keep filming. And if we can just get off the continent.
They've been fine for thousands of years over there.
We'll be able to see. I'm sure they've had some disasters too.
What? I don't know. I think
volcanoes
it's pretty stable.
And things. I'm just saying. They might be able to finish filming before everybody's dead. But America, whether that's the United States or all of North America, because Mexico, we might be gone by the time Game of Thrones season 8 happens. And that's
just watch out, people, for the locusts. Because that's a sure sign.
Shouldn't we be most worried about the killing of the firstborn if we're going to take the biblical plagues in stride?
I don't know. I don't know what all of them are. So.
That was the final plague, the killing of the firstborn, the angel of death. It's the Passover story.
You've
only known me in my Jewishness for 6 years now.
That's a big bummer.
I don't know. You don't know the plagues, right? Okay.
I don't know.
Every year we talk whatever.
No, I mean I don't know the disasters.
I know, but that's because you don't pay attention when we do the story at Passover every year.
That's not a sign of Armageddon. That's like Armageddon.
But that's exactly what you're citing, the locusts and the frogs.
They haven't had Armageddon yet.
God.
Armageddon is the end of all.
Fine. But you were citing biblical plagues. They come from the Passover story.
Not in Christianity. They make their own shit up.
Yeah, it's the same story, babe.
Okay.
It's the quote unquote Old Testament that us Jews call the Torah.
Well,
that's still used
not the way I heard it.
as a sort of a background piece for the later Jesus stuff. Okay. It's all sort of, it's places and settings. It's just
anyway, it's coming.
Great. Okay, so kiss your children tonight before you go to bed. I guess that's what we're saying here. Anyway, Arthur, we're glad you're okay. Best wishes to everyone in Mexico and Florida. Mm-hmm. And we know people out in Florida.
And somewhere else, too.
Like Jamie Walton.
Yes.
Sweetheart of Twitter and runner of, I don't know.
Charity.
The head of the Wayne Foundation, a charity devoted to stopping human trafficking of underage minors that are being forced into horrible situations. She's having to flee her home, and everyone she knows and works with and is saving even. I mean,
I can't imagine. It's so scary. That has never had to happen, or has never happened in my lifetime.
What, you mean here in California?
Yeah. I mean, the worst that it's ever been was fires, but that never threatened my neighborhood.
California has fire season, and actually that did happen to me, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
There was fire very, 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 very close to where I was living. It was before I knew you, and it's probably 10 or 11 years ago. And we had to pack up all our shit and be ready to evacuate at a moment's notice. It was like there was a freeway, and on one side of the freeway was the apartment complex we were living in. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of the freeway was fire.
I remember that fire. I remember that.
If the fire managed to leap over this, it's like a toll road that we lived right next to. That was it. The apartments were going up.
I do recall that fire. That was a long one.
Yeah, well, there's a couple bad ones every year, and I guess that one must have been one of the worst, at least for this area. But I'm sure other people have had it.
Can you imagine?
We didn't lose our home, so other people have definitely had it worse.
Imagine having to wear all that fire suit and having to fight a fire out in this heat. Like in the daytime?
Yes, that would be miserable.
85 or 90? Ugh.
It's been, we were in 115 degree heat recently, dear.
I know. Can you imagine that?
And it could be hotter in Mexico.
They would just let it burn. They'd be like, oh, fuck it, let it burn. That's what I would do.
It's probably hotter in Houston. It's probably hotter in Mexico City. And in Florida, you got the humidity. Oy! Oh.
Oy vey.
Oy. It's terrible there. I was born there,
Yep, with the cockroaches.
Yeah, flying cockroaches. They're the worst. Yeah, I know. Anyway, Arthur, we wish you well.
Yes. We hope everybody's A-okay.
Yeah. I hope so. We were doing this charity pod pack thing, which is for the ACLU, which is great. But then once you start something like that, you can't change charities mid-track.
No?
And this thing launched like 2 days before a hurricane showed up off the coast of Houston. It's just a bummer of timing because, kind of like I said, people are going to get burnt out on all this charity stuff. And we were trying to do some good, but maybe we can come up with something else that we can try to do some good
showed
with.
up.
Well, yes, I guess so. Well, Houston and all these places are getting wiped out. They got a long road ahead to recovery. So I have some ideas. Maybe we can come up with a way to inspire people to help a little bit later down the line.
Okay.
I'm going to try.
Good luck.
I'm not going to say what it is because once I start promising, it's all going to fall apart.
Yeah, and then you got to promise. You got to like come through. And whatever you come through with might be shitty because you just couldn't do it.
Yep.
Got it.
So that is something I wanted to talk about tonight, but that is not the Game of Thrones topic. That was just best wishes to all of our listeners out there in places that are getting crushed by nature. So there was something that you must have missed because you would have said something to me about it. And I don't know that I said anything to you. I think I might have kept it close to my chest here, but right around 2 weeks ago, as the Game of Thrones season was wrapping up, someone who just needs a better hobby. Like, I don't know how this happens. I don't know how someone discovers this, but found a page that was linked to nothing on Target's website. And I don't think it was Target America. I think it was Target somewhere like maybe UK or something. But they found a page that was sort of a placeholder, didn't give any details, no pictures, just words at the top of a white page that said Bethesda Game of Thrones game or something like that. Game of Thrones game from Bethesda. There were a bunch of articles about this. I would link one, but I just want to talk about this right now, and then we'll decide if we should link anything to anything. Bethesda, we've talked about them. Makers of things like Skyrim, which has come up many times on this show, the Elder Scrolls video games, and also the Fallout series that we've talked about at length in reference to Westworld, if nothing else.
And also now Walking Dead.
Bethesda?
Oh, no, Fallout.
Oh, yeah. Now that we're watching Walking Dead, we've been noticing a lot of other Fallout similarities for completely different reasons than Westworld, but I think Fallout stole from Walking Dead, and then Westworld came in and stole from Fallout. I think that's how the ideas have been changing around.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So
I love Bethesda.
So yeah, I guess this
I would like to work for them.
Well, they're on the East Coast.
Well,
and that place
we've been wanting to move. What if I
wiped out with hurricanes?
Somebody offered me a big ass buku buck job.
Well, that's fine. We can visit that idea and figure out a way to bring all of our ex-spouses with us so that we can see our own children.
Sure.
But there has been a rumor, I guess for a while, that Bethesda was working on a Game of Thrones property.
Is it true?
That is very exciting to me.
That is exciting because the Game of Thrones game we have now, not made by Bethesda.
No, that's the Telltale game. You did not like it, and one of these days, probably in this long, ridiculous off-season, I'm going to play it. But I was thinking it would be fun to get on Twitch and do some video game streaming.
Of that?
That maybe. Is that? I don't know. Your Chewbacca almost-ish sound may be well-founded, because as I'm saying that, I'm like, that game's not really that action-packed. I don't know if that would be worth watching.
It's not.
You didn't get very far into it.
Because it's not my type of game. I just couldn't do it.
Well, I know.
So I'm not going to waste my time on something I'm not enjoying.
I'm going to have to do it, because there's a story there. It might turn out good. You can knit or whatever projects you're working on.
Maybe if you get all the way through to the end, we'll know what's going to happen in the end.
And at the last chapter, they show you the Iron Throne with someone sitting on it. Sure, maybe that might happen.
I hope so.
Let's use that as motivation to get me playing. Yes, but that's Telltale, who are very well regarded, and Bethesda is very well regarded in other ways. So there was someone that claimed to be a Bethesda employee that leaked a bunch of shit I don't know, maybe within the last year. And some of the stuff that this person has said has come true in terms of timings of certain announcements and certain things that they're working on. So it definitely makes people think that if part of the leak says that they're working on a Game of Thrones game, they're probably working on a Game of Thrones game. And then Target had this thing that says Bethesda Game of Thrones game with nothing else on it, but it was there for a reason and now it's gone.
Do you think it's coming at Christmas? I mean, if Target has it on their website, it has to be coming soon.
I don't know.
They don't do stuff like that in advance that far ahead.
I don't know. But here's what I do. No. Here's what I did.
What'd you dude?
With some of the stuff, with some of the stuff that we've been working on recently, like our episode 100 prize giveaway, I've gotten to know a couple people here and there. So I contacted someone I figured this is as good as it's going to get. Someone that we met when we were at Comic-Con who works in the HBO marketing department specifically about licensing.
Who?
Well, I don't know if I should say his name. I don't
know.
I mean, he said he gave me a quote. So,
okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
But I figured if anyone would know, it's the guy that does licensing because this would be licensed. And he said this. He can confirm that, quote, HBO does not currently have a deal with Bethesda to produce a Game of Thrones video game, unquote. So I know you're probably thinking, well, this is a fucking waste of time to podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, isn't that what you're thinking?
I'm waiting for...
Well, so I was mulling that over a bit.
Okay.
Trying to decide what we can do with that information. It's nice to have that, concrete denial in place so we don't get our hopes up. But then I was mentioning this to someone I work with, and that person pointed out to me that HBO doesn't own Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin owns Game of Thrones.
So did you call George?
Unfortunately, no. I lost his number.
Oh, man. What
I know. I forgot to save it.
Of all numbers to lose.
I had him write it right on my penis. And then I washed my penis. It was stupid of me.
Gross.
I said I would never wash this penis again, and I was wrong.
If you wanted to be with me, you better be watching that thing.
Well, I thought the phone number would, help turn you on.
Until you washed it off.
I did not call George R.R. Martin, unfortunately. But that is real food for thought, I think. You don't have to... If George had a deal going on in the background to make some Game of Thrones stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the TV show, I imagine that that's well within his rights. And...
is George a gamer?
I don't know. He's a pretty hardcore nerd. I bet he's had some gaming times in his life. But he...
You know what? Okay, so
he could also make a bundle of money off a licensing deal like that.
Did you call Bethesda?
I did. I did not, because I can promise you, babe, they're not going to talk.
Why not? But, they should get the buzz out there now.
Well, not if it's not ready to go, babe.
No, but they should say
and
coming
these things,
soon.
Sometimes people work on games for years and then it gets canceled and then it's just boom, just radio silence. There was a Firefly game a few years ago that I was trying to get you excited about. It was going to be available on mobile and it was a online game. You and I could probably share one ship together and we could fuck on it, but also go through the verse and try to make money and, be bad guys or whatever. And one day the people making that game just stopped talking. It was they all just died. And that's probably not what happened, unless the Reavers got them. But they just went silent. And it's been a year and a half since there's been any updates. And people have gone on the Facebook page and stuff and been hey, some of us, not me, thankfully, but some of us paid for early access to certain things through this app you guys had before the game and da-da-da. No answers.
Ooh.
Nothing. They're just gone. And it's a real bummer on many levels, whether or not you invested money in it.
Something you, I guess, risk when you're doing stuff like that.
I was really excited about an EverQuest game that was coming out. I used to play a lot of EverQuest and EverQuest 2, if anyone out there is nerd enough to know those online games. And there was a new one that was being made that was going to have all sorts of amazing sounding new features in it. Again, thankfully not me, but some people bought into it for like early access packs and paid $100+ for it. So that you get like special vanity items in the game and the earliest access to beta. And the beta did happen and people got to go in and play. And then the game got canceled.
Well, that's what you get for being so vain.
Okay. You probably think this song is about you.
Well, you said vanity points and stuff.
Like you get a
Really?
special shirt to wear or a flag that hovers above your head
my
or some
God.
shit like that. I don't know. That's probably not exactly what it is. It's probably not an in-game t-shirt for a fantasy role-playing game.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So could this be real? Bethesda's not going to talk. HBO says no, but it could, within the realm of possibility, be something that George is doing on his own. And if it is, that kind of excites me more. Because as much as I would have a lot of fun running around the world that we've seen in the show. But on the other hand, if I were to be in the game and meet people like Tyrion or Jaime or Cersei, I would be pretty tickled if they actually looked like they were supposed to look in the books instead of the prettier versions. Brienne, she's described way differently than what Gwendolyn Christie than what Gwendolyn Christie looks like. She's a completely different type of person.
That would be cool to see.
And Tyrion with his 2 different colored eyes and his blonde hair and just stuff that we've never seen.
Yeah.
I think that would be
But he has to finish the book
cool.
first. He can't do that without a story, without the ending. I guess he could.
No,
he already let somebody else run with it.
That's what you have Bethesda do. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
like the Telltale people, they probably wrote their own story, had it approved by George. I think it works just like the show works. And I don't know if the Telltale game was related to HBO or not off the top of my head. It might be. But I think it would be really cool to see one. What?
Telltale game.
They're called Telltale Games.
Yes, I know.
So the Telltale Games game, which isn't actually what I said. I said game. I know. I just think it would be neat to have to take that world as George wrote it. That would be, to me, super, super, super cool.
Okay.
And then you have tons of source material, whether it's historical stuff or all the stuff happening in the books. But if you're playing in that game in a Bethesda type story, you're not going to be Jon Snow. You're not going to be
You're just going to be some guy.
Right. Well, you're going to be someone else in the world, sort of like in the Telltale game, where you're no one that you've ever seen on the show. You're some other protagonist that's going to have their own epic storyline, right?
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And probably have some kind of impact on the world at large, but not something you're going to actually see happen in the TV show.
I don't know. I would like to interact with those people too.
No, I think you can. I don't think that's unreasonable. It's just that you maybe you won't be able to kill them, or if you do, hey, it's just a game. Mm-hmm. But either way, if you're going to play a game like that from Bethesda, the whole point is to make your own character. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So you would get to pick, I guess, a gender and a house. And then that house, like kind of like if you choose a race in Skyrim, right? If you choose, a Nord, you're going to be this huge hulking human with like blue tattoos on your face and braided hairstyles. And if you choose a lizard person, what are they called?
Argonians.
Wow. Good nerd points, babe. If you're an Argonian, well, you have a different set of options. The way Game of Thrones works tailors to that really well. Like if you choose House Baratheon, guess what, motherfucker? You got black hair. And if you're Lannister, you got blonde hair.
Mm-hmm. And if you come out with any other color hair and they say you're a Lannister, you're probably not.
You're a bastard. Maybe you could make a bastard character. How fun.
I wish we could develop this game.
Well, hopefully someone already is.
If not, you and me we're on it.
Okay. We'll make it. No problem. I think
go take an online class.
Well, I took some classes in Apple Basic back in like 1989, so I think that'll be fine.
I do too. I'm confident we can get this done.
Yeah. You got about like maybe 500 pixels on your screen, so you can You can make some pretty sweet 3D graphics with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it, babe.
Yeah. Ultra low res graphics. It'll be a big selling point for a Game of Thrones game. Mm-hmm. So could Bethesda be working on it? And if so, what would you like to be able to do in that world?
Wow, that's a big question.
I know. I don't even know that I have the answer myself exactly. But what would you want to do?
Well, I would like to actually ride the dragon.
That sounds like a drug reference.
It could be sex.
Could be sex. All right.
I would like to get it because I got ripped off in Skyrim because you don't actually really get to ride the dragon. I don't know.
You kind of do. Like you
Kind
see
of.
yourself on it. It was always like that in games like EverQuest
Very
as well.
anticlimactic.
Not many games have there are a few, but not many video games out there have let you be in full control of some large winged creature.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps Bethesda could do that. It would be the next evolution of what you had in Skyrim, where you kind of rode the dragons.
I'd like to be able to kill all the people that I hate.
Take on, who do you hate? The Mountain? Who do you hate? Who do you hate in Game of Thrones right now?
Right now?
Oh, babe, a single player game like that could go through eras. Like if it was a multiplayer game, especially like an online kind of thing, you have to sort of choose a setting. Like, is it post Joffrey Baratheon dying or pre Joffrey Baratheon dying? But if you're playing a single player game, you could go watch Joffrey be a dick to a whole bunch of people and then come back later on in the game and it's after his wedding to Sansa and he's dead.
Yeah, I would like to kill him and Ramsay, maybe. I like everybody that's on the show right now, except for... I still am not liking Davos's character.
Why?
I don't know. I really like him in real life.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you haven't come up with some kind of personal vendetta against the poor man.
I just feel like his speeches are just too overboard.
But that's his thing. That's what he does.
It's not my
Lore
thing.
Master Kevin, I think, has called him the ultimate hype man, right? Like he can just go and make the rousing speech that will help rally people to your cause.
Sure.
Not to his cause, but to your cause. That's what he does. He'll do it for you.
He's weird.
I don't think he's weird. I think he's great.
Why follow? Now we're not going to talk about that right now.
But and Kevin wants to do an episode devoted to him sometime in the future too. So maybe he can make it his goal now to win you over to the side of Davos lover. No, that's not going to happen. It's not an option.
No.
Okay. Well, sorry, Kevin. I tried. Okay, so Davos, you don't like him. Would you kill him if you saw him in a video game?
Yeah. I would. And Jorah.
All right. I think
Jorah I like in real life too, but not in the show.
The way when I look at what I've done before in the Elder Scrolls games, and I didn't play the originals, unfortunately. I never knew about them at the time, but I played Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim and some of their expansion content, but not all. I feel like for me, I would love to go explore Old Valyria.
Ooh.
Run through the ruins, fight the stone men, carry lots of cure disease potions if they have those in a game like George R. R. Martin's Horrible Worlds where everyone dies horribly.
You can probably go visit the Citadel and steal some potions and then take them on your trip.
Scrape me clean.
Yeah.
That would hurt. But it's a video game, so who cares?
I watched the making of when they did the makeup for him. I think you watched a little bit
Oh,
of it.
yeah, you were showing me.
That was pretty good.
They actually had pus hidden under the scales, right?
Yep.
It wasn't all done after the fact. Mm-hmm. That's pretty nasty.
Sure is.
Not like, for instance, Walking Dead, where we have been noticing many, many times that some of the gore that they put into that show is put in after the fact, completely computer generated. Most of the time they do a great job, but every once in a while, like a katana will go through someone's neck and you'll be like, it's not quite at the right angle compared to the rest of the katana.
Well, they got a lot of katana necks to
I know.
edit.
I couldn't do better. I'm just saying every once in a while we notice it and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I like it. Maybe they like it too.
Maybe. But that was real pus.
Makes it less
under Jorah's
violent that way.
stone cooties.
Real pus?
Real pus.
It was like they got some pus from patients and then put it in his chest.
Probably. Or tapioca pudding.
I don't know what they used.
That came up sometime recently. I don't know why. I think it was like a sponsored tweet from Ziploc or something, but I decided to chime in just to be kind of a dick. It was something like, what's the weirdest thing you've ever used a Ziploc bag for?
Oh.
And I was brought back to a middle school history class. I had an oral presentation to do on Revolutionary War era medicine. And I had this old from my parents used to buy me a lot of science toys for my birthday and shit. And it was a model skull, like a life-size model skull made out of sort of thin, lightweight plastic, but it glowed in the dark. It glowed.
Creepy.
Glowed? Is glowed right? Or glue? No, not glue. It would glow in the dark.
Okay.
So that was kind of neat. But I took it to class. You could open up the skull cap, and inside I put a bag of tapioca pudding to represent brains.
Nice.
I was talking about how they would do brain surgery, and I had mocked up a couple of the tools they used. And then when we finally got the skull open, there was tapioca pudding inside, and I got a good reaction from the class. And then I didn't know what to do with the pudding after that. Uh-huh. So I was carrying it home and sort of just tossing it up in the air, like kids do. Oh. And unfortunately, I missed once and it landed on the ground and
splat.
It opened up a bit. It didn't get all over me, but
so
there was an
you
unfortunate
threw it in the air.
Pussy-looking mess on the ground for some later passerby. I'm sorry.
You threw it in the air.
Well, I was tossing it, not.
Tapioca is hard to make.
Good.
It is.
It makes me feel so bad for wasting it.
You should. You should have eaten that shit.
It wasn't homemade.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about, it's not my mom. Come on. She does not make homemade
tapioca. It's
tapioca.
really not an easy thing to make.
It was just from those little plastic things. Anyway, how did we get on that? Jorah's pus. There we go.
Right.
Jorah's
should have
pus.
used some tapioca. That would be good.
It would have been good. Little chunks. And
dyed a little green.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember. Video games. That's all I wanted to talk
Game
about.
Of Thrones,
now we're
video
on pus.
Game, Bethesda. That would be an awesome game.
It really would be. So
no
that's
matter
the
what
thing.
It is.
So I got an official denial from HBO, and that makes me sad. But
You should ask
I just
Bethesda
can't.
as marketing people.
I can't let go. I'll try.
Yeah.
You know what? I will try for you.
Yeah.
For you, babe. For our audience, I will try.
Oh.
So if I can, I'll give an update. In a week or two. We're going out of town, so probably not next week. But if there's any update to give, I will make sure to give it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
That's all I had. I just wanted to talk about video games. I think it would be amazing. My imagination runs wild just thinking about running through the landscapes of Westeros and Essos, and yeah.
It would be awesome.
Yeah. So hey, tweet at us. Tell us. Email. We could talk about it some other time. What do you think would be the best part, assuming you can't be one of the major characters? You have to be your own guy or girl. What would be the best part or parts of running around in a Game of Thrones video game, open world? Kind of do anything. What would you want to do? Jennifer would ride dragons.
Among other things.
I would go fight stone men and try not to get their cooties.
I think I actually would like to kill every major character just to see what happens. I like doing that. It's fun.
All right.
Just to see what happens. And then I can just, play over my saved game.
Yeah. In the online games, those guys always come back. In a game from Bethesda, they either don't let you kill them or you fucked up the world big time. One of the two.
Yeah, I like it when it gets fucked up.
Yeah. It is fun. All right, so I guess that's it for now. Next week, we'll be back with Westworld. Yeah. Did I mention that earlier? I can't remember. So we'll be back with Westworld. We watched Westworld episode 9. Finally.
I can't wait for that to come out. The new one.
And hopefully the week after that, we'll have some more Game of Thrones stuff to talk about. All right?
A whole, 2 years away.
I know. It's fucking stupid. We'll find ways to keep the show going, babe. Don't worry.
All right.
We'll do it. All
now
right.
we can recap season 7.
We will do that too. Absolutely. Of course we will. Adios.
Hefe?
Hefe. Hefes y Hennefers. And best wishes to all of you in Texas, in Florida, in Mexico. Good gravy and good luck. Talk about some shit. Ready?
I think so.
You're not sure?
Well, I feel like somebody might be standing outside our door.
Well, go check.
No, it's hard for me to get off the bed and back behind the microphone.
There's actually 2 kids standing right there.
Creepy.
They're not ours.
Ooh, now did have nightmares. Creepy ass kids.